Hello friends, in the previous video we talked about the 5 requirements or necessities for child rearing, for raising up a child, things that should be put into consideration by caregivers. Caregivers, especially the parents, the father and the mother. The first of these necessities is empathy. Empathy is the foundation and seedbed for raising a child. One who has no empathy cannot raise a child well, and in fact cannot follow the other necessity, the other processes which are required for the raising up of a child. And remember, empathy is different from sympathy. Empathy is the show of how much understanding and compassion we have for the other and the willingness to help the other, while sympathy is a feeling of pity or sorry for the other. It ends there. Sympathy is the relief of not having the same problem which the other goes through, while empathy is the compassion, the show of this compassion and the willingness to help, to adapt, and to suffer with the other. So empathy as the foundation of these necessities brings us to the second necessity, which is mentalization. Mentalization in simple terms is the capacity to imagine the desire, the needs of the child. Imagining the child requires the caregiver to follow the child on close basis to understand how a child behaves in a particular situation. What is the particular need or desire that makes a child behave in this particular way? Children also mentalize themselves. In the place where they joke, where they play, they mentalize themselves. They try to imagine themselves. Mentalization helps them to relate, to create a social link with themselves and to relate with the other, imagining how the other feels and knowing that this feeling of the other is possible, a feeling in which humans undergo at the same instance at which the person feels that way. In practical response to this mentalization, the caregiver employs the third phase, which is mirroring. He mirrors the child. Having imagined the child, the caregiver begins to act out some of the imaginations on the child. It is a practical follow-up of mentalization. The caregiver puts into practice what he or she thinks is the actual need or desire of the child. In this stage, there could be trial and errors. Imagine a child crying because there is a stomach ache. He's feeling stomach ache. And the mother brings the child to the breast and gives the child breast. It is an act of mirroring, but then it is a wrong mirroring. This stage involves trial and error. But the caregiver must continue to pay very close attention to the child to understand when he or she has reached the maximum desire of this child, demand of this child, and should pay attention at the reactions of the child for subsequent times. When these first 3 phases of empathy, mentalization, and the mirroring are successfully done in a child, it gives the child the ability to learn. And the learning process of a child at this level comes with what we call attachment. And that is the 4th level of child rearing, of growing or raising a child. In this level, in this attachment, the child tends to create a link or to lean on the caregiver in order to learn, because this is the level of learning. And that is why it is very necessary that the caregiver becomes the mother, the parents of the child. This is a level of confidence building, authority building, model building. This is why in a child, when the teachers play this role on the child, a child comes home to tell the mother, our teacher said, because the authority role has been shifted to the teacher and no longer to the parents. Caregivers or parents should utilize this stage of attachment, this linking the children creates with them, to teach them values and norms, so that as they grow into, because there will be a time when they will begin to also stay independent, withdraw from this link, from this leaning. So they should use this opportunity to teach them norms, how to be independent, how to properly reason. The response and one of the ways in which the children are taught in this stage brings the caregiver to the other stage, the final stage, the 5th stage of these necessities, this process. Reinforcement. Reinforcement can be expressed in 2 ways. You have the negative reinforcement and the positive reinforcement. But most caregivers think about negative reinforcement, which is expressed through punishment. But no, that does not help the child. Reinforcement can also come in the form of praise, appreciation, love, And this helps the child. This is positive reinforcement. This helps the child also in growing, in being independent, and in thinking, reasoning, and builds the self-esteem and confidence of the child. And so, our dear caregivers, our dear parents, please let us try as much as possible to pay close attention on the way we raise our children, taking into cognizance these necessities, following our children with love and appreciation, kindness, so that they can grow to reason, to be independent, and to also be confident and have a high self-esteem, that helps them to be efficacious in everything they do and to reason and express themselves well. Thank you.